I want to talk about another episode of another show. So there's a TV show that ran from 1996 to 2000. It was called Suddenly Susan. It starred Brooke Shield as Susan. It also had Judd Nelson and Kathy Griffin, among others. And this show had one specific episode that really affected me, and I want to talk about that one. Susan is a character that works at a magazine, or they all work at a magazine called The Gate, and that's what the whole show is based around. There's one episode where it starts off just like every other one, where it has the little opening jokes, and then right after, like early in, there's an interview, like a headshot of Brooke Shields' character talking about something sad. Like she says something like, "It started off as like any other day. How would we possibly know that it was going to end this way?" They reveal that her coworker Todd has the day off. She's trying to get in touch with him because they accidentally switched concert tickets that they were both going to go to, and nobody knows where he is. She heard that he was somewhere, so she went there, and then she had to go from place to place, and everywhere that she went, somebody had just talked to him not too long, like the day before or a couple of days before or something, and then it's basically this wild goose chase of trying to get in touch with Todd or find him. And the whole time there's these interview headshots, and everyone is talking in past tense about Todd. And so at the very end of the episode, they all start saying, this is getting scary. We're starting to get actually worried. Nobody had heard from him, and um, they all ended up, all of the coworkers in the show got together at one point, and they were actually not praying, but they were all like trying to send good vibes. They were trying to harness positive energy so that they would just he would just be at some random place, and one of them gets a phone call, and they find out that he had passed on. Now, if you don't remember the show or you don't know who I'm talking about, David Strickland was the actor who played Todd, and right before the episode, he had taken it upon himself to unalive, and it was a very hard time because a lot of people, I mean, the whole cast, of course, was devastated by this. I remember when I watched the episode of Suddenly Susan, it was really hard because I struggle with a very similar darkness and mindset. Now, the actor in real life had been dealing with drug problems for a while. He had actually gone to court and was supposed to go to be at court the day that they found him. The last person to talk to him said that he seemed very sad and very not himself. So we don't know the exact reason that he chose this, but it's definitely something that it made me think about how just because you're in whatever situation you're in, whether it's a positive one or a negative one, this can affect anybody. And he was actually known as someone who was going to be the rising star of the show. Brooke Shield is already well known at the time. Kathy Griffin, Judd Nelson were all very well known. He was the guy who, the character actor, the presence who was going to break out from this show. There were drug issues in his life, and he actually, in an interview, somebody asked if he could change anything, what would he change? And his answer was he would never have discovered alcohol, which was a very large contributing factor to his world in the end of his life. So I just wanted to bring this up and say that, first, if anybody is dealing with these kind of thoughts, please reach out. Please do not hold that in, because as someone who knows that darkness, knows that what it feels like to be holding it in and thinking that there is nothing and no one and that there's no other solution. I don't want anyone to ever feel that way. If anyone is feeling this way, please reach out to somebody. There's phone numbers, there are a lot of resources. Please look into it. And if you know anybody who has dealt with these kind of things, reach out to them. Just just reaching out and saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about you," sometimes can save a life. I know from experience people have done it for me. So I just wanted to bring this episode up. It's something that I was doing some research about another show, and this one came up, and I just had to talk about it. So tell me if you remember the show Suddenly Susan. I'm not going to ask for a rating for this episode or for the show, but I am going to ask if you remember it, and if you remember the actor David Strickland of any characters of his. In honor of David Strickland and the characters that he's played, this one goes out to him. Nostalgia rules.